victory here in Monaco, taking home more wins than any other constructor.
And as a very famous / infamous F1 YouTuber once said, back at it again with the Monaco. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next round of SLR Tier 1. I am your host, Lars of the Red Hot Lovers, flying solo here for the jewel, many would say, of the F1 calendar. Arguably the hardest track for any driver to race around, let alone win. We are here for the Monaco Grand Prix. As I said, I'm flying solo tonight. No co-host with me, so you get to hear my lovely voice for the entirety of this. Sorry, not sorry. Just getting all the stats up here. There you can see the wonderful Monaco track, as Lepson has already retired, leaving us with 13 drivers remaining on the track. And that will be in order as they appear on the timing charts. Justin, a Daisy, or a Desi, however you say it, Joel, Verch, John Wick, Crystals, Makender, Basco, Run Cruiser, Christian, Nikau, Kit, also known as Rickety, and Jeremy. I know it says Jeremy Doku, but I'm going to call him Count Dooku from now on. And you can't stop me. So, anyway, like I said, we're here in Monaco. Tricky enough at the best at times, but with the new, of course, the wider cars we've had since 2017, this track has become near impossible for some drivers. But obviously we will have a winner at the end of it. The question is, who is it going to be? And in order to have a good chance of winning in Monaco, you've got to qualify well. And looking at qualifying, I think we have the Haas of... is that Basco starting his lap? He will be first to run. Because I'm messing up all my buttons, my apologies. That's because I don't have my controller with me, he got busted. But we'll stick with Basco as he comes through Sector 1. He will be the first driver to set a time, assuming he doesn't bottle it. Kind of hard to do track limits around this track, obviously, mainly it being because of the walls, which make it almost like I compare it to doing the trench run in Star Wars, except instead of doing it in an X-Wing, you're doing it in a bloody Star Destroyer. Shout out to the nerds who understand all those references. Through the tunnel, and out into the blazing sun, although nicely shaded at this time of day. Oh, clips against the wall and actually does invalidate his lap. Damn it, Basco, there was me saying it was hard to invalidate. Who else is coming round? We've got John Wick will be first to set a competitive time, as he has not bottled it so far. Though he does appear to be missing an end plate. Either he clipped the wall somewhere, he'll finish the banker, but that will have hurt his ability to make it around the track. John Wick will set the first time of the day, a 1:10.5, closely followed by Run Cruiser, who immediately displaces him with a 1:09.7. Makender then takes pole with a 1:08.4. Gosh, the times are coming down thick and fast. Count Dooku with a 1:09.4, Crystals with a 1:09.3. Makender's not pulling any punches, he's already 9/10ths quicker than the nearest competitor. And that's just the bankers. As, oh, they're all stopping on track to try and let people through. Blue flags. The bane of everyone's existence around this track, especially on qualifying. You don't want to invalidate someone's lap. As Justin now says, right, Makender, have at it, with a 1:08.3. Christian splitting the two, only missing out by 0.003 of a second. Nikau posted P7, Kit P8. There with a 1:10. John Wick down in 9th now, and Joel in P10. Daisy is on his run, Verch is on his outlap, and Basco's back in the pit. We'll watch a Daisy, and then we'll cut to Verch, and we'll try and ride on board with Verch for his lap and take you round the lovely Monaco circuit. Dream of mine to go and watch this race. Of course, I'm not paid for a grandstand ticket. I'll just go up into the hillside. It's usually the best seats as a Daisy goes to P3. But Verch on his warm-up lap, coming through now in Sector 3. He's got another car behind him, but it should be on an in-lap, so he shouldn't have to move out the way. And we shall ride on board, and I will try not to butcher too many of the corner names. as we head round the final corner and along the start-finish straight down into the legendary Saint-Devoux. Saint-Devoux, I already butchered it. Try not to hit the wall on the exit, it's very easy to do, that's on the exit, that's to back. Heading up Beau Rivage, up this uphill section where Perez and the Haas has had a massive hit together. Left-hander into Massenet, down into the Casino Square, and then watch out for the bump on the left-hand side as you approach Mirabeau and Mirabeau Hope. Although we just call it Mirabeau, we lump it together. Down into the Grand Hotel hairpin. First gear, lock as hard as you can, past Mirabeau Basse, and then into Portier. As we head through the tunnel section, it is possible to get distracted by the sunshine as it comes blazing at you. Please don't be. Down into the Nouvelle chicane. So easy to hit the barrier on the inside or cut the chicane on the inside of the second part. We now head up to the swimming pool section. Don't look at the girls in bikinis. Focus instead on piscine. Be as brave as you can and hug the inside wall as much as you can as you head down to the bar at Rascasse. There'll be plenty of drinks for you after the race. And then, technically, this is another corner here. Anthony knows. But it's usually just all lumped together as Rascasse as you head down to the start-finish straight. And Vert goes P5 on his banker. So, the only one not having set a lap yet is Basco, and he's on his run now. And he's invalidated again. I did warn you about invalidating on those corners, and Basco has just proven how easy it is to do. Still, could be worse. Could have actually hit the bloody wall. He will come back to the pits. Daisy is on another run and he's looking to improve. Will he improve? A 108.3 to beat. He does go to pole. Look at that. The top three split by 0.03 of a second. Could we be on for... Well, I mean, let me put it this way. If we had the old timing system we had back in the 90s, you know, back with the... We would have had a repeat so far of that legendary Portuguese Grand Prix where Villeneuve, Schumacher and Heinz-Harald Frentzen all shared the exact same time to the nearest 100th of a second, because back in those days you only measured to the nearest 100th, you didn't measure to the 1000th. They all shared the same time and it's very close to the minute. Looks like John Wick is back out on track. He's currently going through Sector 2. Went green in that Sector 2, personal best. Can he improve? He looks to be improving so far. Also shout outs to Persegili and Ocean Chief saying hello in the chat. It's kind of like our well, it's kind of the reverse as John Wick does improve by a second up to P8. It's kind of like having the reverse effect, isn't it? Instead of the main drivers watching the support races, we have the support drivers watching the main races. As Crystals is now coming through the tunnel, looks like we have, is that Makeenders on outlap, so we run, or Crystals coming to the line next. We have the Williams of Kit behind as well, he's invalidated. So it's Crystals we're watching. 3/10 up, brushing the wall and bouncing across the chicane. This could be very quick. He got away with that. Oh, he nearly does a Schumacher in the Rascasse, but keeps it out of the wall. This should be an improvement. It was a 109.3. It's a 108.9. Puts Crystals up to P5. Not a bad showing. Run Cruiser now displaces him in P5 with a 108.7. That is Christian starting his lap. Let's see what he can do. He's in the running for pole here. I mean, lots of drivers in the running for pole, but Christian is breathing down the pole drivers' necks. He's a 10th up, so this is looking good so far. I believe Justin's also out on track. He's just behind. We'll have to keep an eye on these two. Adesi's still in the pits. Makeender obviously on his cooldown lap. Christian's still up in sector, so he's up in sector 1. Coming through sector 2. He is... You don't realize how long sector 2 is compared to sector 1 and 3, do you? Until you're actually watching it. Wings Unlimited to the Chief. He's a 10th up. Justin Ertz only about half a 10th up. This is looking good for pole for Christian. If he is, as his namesake is doing, he must be praying to his rosary right now. Towards the line then. And it is provisional pole for Christian. Justin, can he displace him? He can. That was a mighty third sector. Nearly enough 2/10 quicker. Holy cow. Justin pulling a Max Verstappen in the third sector there. And bumping the wall of his team to get out of his teammates' way for good measure. Who else is out on track there? Adesi's on his outlap. Makender 4/10 up. He's threatening. Gosh, this is such a tight qualifying session already, and there's still 7 minutes left. As Makender now goes on to provisional pole. Again, only just. Adesi will start his next run, and he was already improving based on his outlap. Let's see what the Mercedes can do. It's very cold. And Adesi appears to be ghosted for some reason. Oh, he's gone wide at the hairpin. He's backed off. He's really backed off there. Must have made a mistake. Let's see. Run Cruiser was right there. Verch is improving. And improves to P5. He's replaced by Count Dooku in P5. John Wick is back in the pits. Nykow aborts his lap. Kit's in the pits as well. Joel. He just improved there. It's a 110 point. No, wait, that's an on-improvement. That's him going on his main run now, I think. Yes, he is. Currently joining his teammate on the back row of the grid, the two Alpines. They'll come in their own, don't worry. We all know Alpine were only good towards the end of the season. And after this run we might get a bit of a lull in the amount of drivers out on track. We will of course oh, that's a big hit in the wall for Joel. He's still going though. I think he's trying the NASCAR wall riding strat. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. And no, it doesn't. He aborts the lap and clips the pit wall on his way in. Anyone else out on track at the minute? Adesi is on a lap. That's surprising. If he's on, unless he's on a scrub set. Going up to Raskas. All the drivers locking up into there. That was quick round there, or it looked quick to me. And smooth through the final corner. Across the line, is it enough? It's not. It's an improvement. He stays fourth. Anyone else out on track at the minute? Kit's on his outlap. Don't know if this is going to be his final run or not. Engages hot lap mode in that beautiful Williams. Yes, I'm biased. I was racing for them last season, and I aim to race for them again this season as well in AOR. As Kit comes across the line, we have a Ferrari exiting pit lane. And there's a McLaren out on track as well. And Williams rushing by. Into the casino. That looked fairly neat and tidy through there. A bit of a lock up at the top of the hill. Down into the hairpin. Riding that inside curb. Making it work so far. It's into the tunnel. Braking. Slight lock up, but that looked fairly good through the chicane there. Kit's really pushing on this lap. He's 4/10 up on his personal best. If he makes up more time here, he could be threatening. He'll definitely be threatening the top 10, if not well within the top 10. Around the final corner and rocketing towards the line. It is It's P9 for Kit. Not actually quite as fast as I thought it was going to be. But he displaces Basco, who himself is on an outlap, a secondary outlap it would seem. Christian is now on his presumably final run. Still threatening for pole, but those two competitors are both in the 1:07s. Christian leading the 1:08 group. That looked a bit wide of the hairpin. I don't know if that was particularly the best run. Crystal's also following behind on a lap. Lots of drivers now following on their final runs, it would seem. As Crystals gets a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with Kit. What on earth happened there? Kit wasn't even on a lap. Oh, Crystals will not be happy about that, but unless we restart the lobby in between sessions, there's not a whole lot that can be done. I told you it was difficult to get out of the way here. Oh, reverse entry drifting into Raskas goes Christian. Round the final corner, zooming it to the line. 1:08 is his time, 1:07.8 to beat, and it is good enough, if only just. Makender trying to respond, but he's being held up a bit on this lap. The dirty air. And he's backed off, actually. He's going to try for one more run. Who else is on a lap that's threatening? Count Dooku will be starting his proper lap now. Vert's improving by 0.2. But it's not enough. Makender has called it quits, so he's not doing pole anymore. Run Cruiser starting his final run. So too is Justin. And a Desi. They're all coming thick and fast. Giggity. And using overtake up the hill is Justin. He's not pulling any punches. Now there is a Desi for that matter. Looking at the drivers, who's going to be first to the line? Kid is just trying to get off the track, it would seem. That's John Wick. He'll be next to cross the line. And he will be followed by, I believe that's Dooku on the track. Christian starting one more run. Christian will have time for one more run. John Wick improving further. Can he knock Kit out of the top 10? He can. Goes to P9. Justin and a Desi trying to respond to the pole time. A 1:07.870 to beat. Justin. Oh! Big power slide there. So big a power slide they had to ghost it. That may have ruined his lap. And it does. He smashes his wing against the wall in frustration. Hopefully that doesn't ruin anyone else's lap, although he seems to be ghosted. A Desi is not able to improve either. It's looking good for Christian. Dooku is 0.2 up, although I don't think he was really threatening pole. Still got Verch to go though, and the rest of the runners behind. Christian's still pushing on, of course, and improving. This is maybe a little bit needless, but never get a driver to stop pushing, especially when they're in the zone. Just going to check real quick the team radio, as I like to call it, and it's not an improvement overall. He's only 1/1000th slower than his pole time. God damn. Anyone else improving? Dooku 7/10 up. I tell you what, he could be threatening. Nope. Slight trick of the timing screens there. Verch. Will he improve? Not be able to know. Justin and Joel talking to each other. I think maybe Justin unhappy that Joel was in front of him through the entire third sector. No word from the Ferrari garage about Crystal's penalty. Kid actually has one as well for a collision, but that's irrelevant to the top runners. Christian, Makender, Justin, Adazy, Run Cruiser, Dooku, Verch, Crystals, John Wick and Nikau your top 10. Behind them, Basco, Kit, Joel and Lepson bringing up the rear in 14th position. As we prepare for Monaco. Noah saying to Kit, the F was that hairpin. Justin was 2/10 up before he got slowed down that lap. But it's not over yet, there's still race day. And even if overtaking is difficult around here, usually Monaco is a test of endurance. And so the drivers will make their final tweaks to their setups. And then we shall be underway in Monaco. Kit apparently doesn't even know what that hairpin was. As here we go, 5 red lights. And we are going Monaco. Looks to be an okay getaway from Christian. Looks to be a better one from Makender though. He'll challenge around the outside down to Sandoval. And he takes the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. Christian gets all out of shape and is down to 3rd. Justin has taken 2nd place, but he slots in behind. The rest of them seem to be fairly stationary as they hold their positions. But that's a disaster start for Christian. Didn't get the launch off the line. And that's Dooku in the background losing the rear. Somehow holds on to 6th place. But he's held up everyone behind. Further towards the back, Basco is battling away with John Wick, and Crystal's trying to make up for lost positions and also probably trying to get away from Kit. He probably doesn't want to see that Williams, as Lepson also tries to make his way through. But they all seem to have made it through fairly cleanly. No damage done from what I can see, as Justin is now right under the rear wing and challenging, surely not into the chicane. Do they all make it through safely? Seem to. We've got yellows in sector 2. Who's that off at the back? That's Dooku out of the race. And he seems to have lost it on the exit of the swimming pool, or not the swimming pool, of the chicane. That's a very unusual place to lose it, as we have a virtual safety car. I'm amazed they can clean that up under virtual. Usually any chicane, or any crash, sorry, in Monaco is usually a full course safety car, but if the marshals think they can deal with it under virtual, as Adesi pits, hoping that this virtual safety car will stay out long enough. Crystals also pits. Didn't seem to be repairing damage, that was purely tactical. Same two from Crystals. Both taking the tactical decision to pit for a change of tyres. Maybe anticipating that the Hards can go the whole distance. They'd be brave if they could. Of course, the other thing we've got to think about is what about fuel? Because of course Monaco, notoriously in some previous games, was very heavy on fuel. 2 stoppers so far, Adesi and Crystals. Biggest winners off the line is Kit. He's up 4 places. Adesi down 8, but he wouldn't be the biggest loser. The biggest loser for me, of course, would be Jeremy Dooku, who is out of this race. Looking at the tyre, no penalties so far. Looking at the tyre compound, DRS is now enabled, and we are underway again in Monaco. Everyone seems to make it through so far pretty cleanly. A real mixture of hards and mediums. Justin used those mediums to good effect to get the launch off the line, but he's not been able to take the lead as he was probably hoping he could. He now has to try and find a way past Makender, probably to make that strategy fully count. We have a Ferrari going very slowly through the chicane as they all start taking faster lap after faster lap. Obviously based on when they started moving from safety car. John Wick currently holding the fastest lap of the race, as Crystals and Adesi, they got the pit stop in there, but they weren't able to really catch up to the field. So not too sure how that's worked out for them. As Makender now under pressure and being ghosted through by Justin. Justin wisely backs over and thinks that's not a fair overtake. Good on him. The gap's all very close at the minute, but that means nothing in Monaco. Now, what can Justin do here? Right on board with the AlphaTauri driver. Yes, I'm calling it AlphaTauri. You're lucky I don't call it Toro Rosso with that colour scheme. Going through the swimming pool section, the dirty air of that beautiful green Aston Martin. Such a pretty car. And got a better launch off the swimming pool chicane, but unable to do anything. Justin feeling perhaps a little bit more comfortable at this stage of the Grand Prix. Further on back, Verch. Oh, what's happened to Verch? He's carried on. I think he maybe clipped the inside of the bar of the swimming pool. We've also got Monaco in the bar. I think what he's done is, as they've turned in, his rear tyre has clipped the inside bar. No, it's not. He's lost his front wing. We didn't see what happened there, and he's already passed pit lane. That's a disaster for Monaco. He'll have to do a whole lap of Monaco, the most downforce dependent track on the calendar, with no front wing. As he rides up against the wall, it's not like he can take much more off of that car. Adesi will go through from his teammate. Disaster for their Mercedes garage. Not too sure what happened there, whether Verch and... It seemed like two separate incidents between Verch and Nikau. They were separate enough on track. But back to these front runners. The front four starting to break away. 5 seconds clear of Basco in 5th place. So it's a 4-horse race at the minute between Justin, Makender, Christian and Run Cruiser. The dark horse, many would say, of this race so far. He's found his way into P4 and he's staying with the leaders. Meanwhile, further back, Basco leading something of a train in that Haas in P5, with John Wick and Joel in hot pursuit trying to pass it. Kit's not a million miles off, but more coming under pressure from Verch, rather than threatening the drivers in front. As we have Nikau retiring in the pit lane, he has had enough. Will not be a safety car, he's retired in pit lane, so it should be fine. So you can see very clearly we have two separate battles going on track, and Makender has actually broken out of DRS, or sorry, not Makender, Justin has broken out of DRS range. Meanwhile, all aboard the Basco train, they all file through swimming pool this time, trying to find a way through. No one able to do so at this point in time. We'll try and keep an eye on the battles. They're more strategic, obviously, around Monaco, since overtaking is at a premium. Justin, unsurprisingly, saying the fastest lap on those medium compound tyres. And leaving Makender in the dust to a degree. Interesting to note how Makender is already marginal on fuel. You can see his yellow fuel light coming on there. Monaco is quite fuel heavy. He may have to go into fuel saving mode. I think he's the only one. No, Lepson's also struggling for fuel, though he's just got it back, as is Adesi and Crystals. Some drivers struggling for fuel, it seems, at the minute. Well, the top four are all sort of following each other in a rather kind way. It's the battles behind that are getting a bit spicy. Verch, in particular, looks to be getting really impatient with Kit, but obviously can't find a way through at present. Oh, and loses the car. And is he into the wall? He's into the wall. Is there damage? Surely there must be damage. There, no, he somehow gets away with that, except for losing a few positions. Verch now down to P10 then, got a bit too impatient. Now it is Lepson's turn to try and overcome the Kit. That sounded cooler in my head, not gonna lie. Kit trying to overcome Joel in turn, who is losing out to John Wick. And John Wick and Basco having their own little private duel, and Basco really holding up the pack quite a bit here. He's dropped, in the past 2 laps or so, he's dropped like another 4 seconds. Really doesn't have the pace to match these front runners, and it's hurting the drivers behind. But there's not much you can do around Monaco unless you have a really perfect lunge. Oh, big lock up from Basco, but that won't hurt him too much because, again, it's Monaco. You can't get through here. As they all file through the hotel into the tunnel. Oh, excuse me. Maybe have a bit of a cold coming on. I blame myself, and it's absolutely freezing weather recently, so well, I wouldn't give for it to be summer and to have a sunny Monaco day. Anyway, these two stay in close proximity. Looking at the front, Christian seems to be the greater threat at the minute to Makender. Run Cruiser keeping in touching distance, but dropping back somewhat. And Basco losing by 2 seconds a lap here. The gap now down to or up to 11 seconds, as Verge has called time on his race. He's had enough. Further on back, Joel has lost out to Kit. The two Alpines having difficulties surpassing the Williams. Seems that every time we have a look at events, we seem to miss something. So Vert is out of the race. Apologies, I wasn't looking at chat there and I had to refresh. Anyway, what have we got? Leps is driving with water in his tyres. 2 laps equals 2 front wings. Yep, Mac might have damage. I don't know if Makender has damage. Let's try and have a look. We are got our cameras focused. Doesn't seem to have damage so far, Makender. And he's lowered the gap a little bit. But again, he's marginal on fuel. I think that's his problem. Yes, Icewind confirming there that Makender does not have damage. And now that Kit's actually gotten through, he's pulled away. As Lepson gets the first penalty of the race. 3-second time penalty. Wait, hang on. Okay, this is rather confusing. Why is it saying that... Oh, no, wait. How did Kit break away that much? Oh, up the inside, Adesi. And he makes it sick. He barges his way past Lepson. Adesi's on a mission. And will now try to get out of this French Alpine sandwich. They are French, a French team, so by legal obligation I'm going to call it a French baguette. Oh, squirreling the car under braking, but surviving is Adesi. As Kit now also gets 3 seconds for track limits. The penalties starting to come in as we hit just over a quarter race distance. Got yellows in sector 2. Crystals is out, and we have a virtual safety car. Joel makes for the pit lane. That was at the same place as the Count. That was on the exit of the chicane coming out of the tunnel. Must have clipped their tyre on the rear of the wall. And it's still... I'm amazed we haven't had a full virtual full safety car yet. So Joel uses the opportunity to pit, and he will come out with that free pit stop effectively. Question is, how much time can he make up? Of course, it won't be that much because he's under Delta, of course, for this whole thing. But he saved himself time compared to the runners around him. And it shouldn't take him too long to catch up to his teammate and Adesi and that crowd there. Basco still effectively holding up a large section of this field. The top 4 now 16 seconds clear of Basco in 5th position, as we are still under virtual. And we are back underway again. DRS is enabled. No penalties given out this time. Lepson was closing the gap there, but he doesn't seem to have the run. John Wick maybe had the quicker pace there, the quicker launch, but it doesn't do any good because you're in the 3rd sector. As we go on to lap 11 for these boys. Ooh, John Wick is really, you sense he's really threatening this Haas, but Basco's driving a clean race and he's actually gained like 4 seconds under that virtual safety car. That was impressive driving there from Basco, but I get the feeling he'll be pulled out again within a couple of laps. No major battles on track yet. Adesi is the biggest threat at the minute and he's attacking Lepson. I'm pumping the Alpine through the corner. Adesi showing shades of Scotland. Very famously, remember, I believe it was 2001 here in Monaco, where the arrows of... Oh no! Adesi too hot on the throttle. You heard it going over the curb there, and he's now lost his front wing. No safety car deployed. That's all of Adesi's hard work down the drain. I was going to say shades of David Coulthard, who spent basically 90% of the race stuck behind the arrows of Bernoldi, I seem to recall correctly, and getting incredibly frustrated, although respecting the Arrows driver in the end for his stalwart defense. Not that it did too much good for Arrows, they ended up folding in 2002 about halfway through the French Grand Prix, if I remember correctly. Yes, I am an old man in the F1 world by comparison. I'm approaching 30. 28 is when the F1 Alzheimer's sets in, apparently, according to most people. Laughs in recent world champion. But anyway, the top four still keeping it close together. John Wick unable to have any move on Basco at this time. And Adesi's got the work to do all over again. He's still in the race, 17 seconds adrift. I'd say the main battle is, actually the main battle right now is Makender giving a slight love tap to Justin's rear end. Fan fiction writers are going nuts in the chat right now when I said that line, holy cow. But Makender now, at this stage, feeling that now is the time to pounce. Put Justin under pressure, and to tell you what, Christian's threatening as well. I think, have we maybe hit the crossover point? It's 12 laps when the hards overtake the mediums. Certainly looks to be that way at the minute. And maybe it is because Basco is actually pulling away slightly from John Wick. As Lepson retires, that's in sector 1, that's on the exit of Casino, and it's still being held under a safety, or not even under safety car, that's under localized yellows. That's quite extraordinary. His teammate goes through, though Joel does have damage. I'm amazed they were able to do that under localized yellows. As Justin makes for the pits, maybe anticipating the safety car, but it's not coming. And indeed, the mediums are boxing now. So Makender is released back into the lead of the race. Christian in second. Run Cruiser also pits. Is Basco, have they done enough to stay ahead of Basco? This is going to be crucial because Basco has proved to be a bit of a roadblock. And it's going to be close, but it's not enough. Basco is ahead. Yes, he is. Justin comes out behind Basco, and Run Cruiser comes out behind Kit. John Wick retires in the pit lane. Not too sure why he retired. He seems to be doing quite well. But that's us down to 8 runners. This is turning into Monaco 1996. We're not going to have anyone left by the end of this race. Still, it's another position for Adesi. As Joel has also pitted. Now, this is really going to hurt Justin. He's on fresh rubber and he wants to make full use of it. He goes to the inside, and will he force his way through? Oh, there's contact! As Justin gets 3 seconds for a warning and may get in trouble with the stewards. Justin will say, look mate, I was alongside, you shouldn't have turned in. Basco will say, I was ahead at the apex. You had to leave room. There was no way you were making the corner at that speed. Controversy is never far behind in F1 in general, and it's certainly never far behind in SLR. Basco, now that inadvertently has of course released our 2 front runners, but I'll tell you who else it's released. Well, it had released Kit, who has spun off on his own. For God's sake, Rickety. As Basco now, despite that accident, reclaims his best of the rest position. Damn it, Kit, you have one job. Now, does Justin have damage? I could have sworn I saw carbon fiber bouncing up, but both cars looking okay at the minute. As Justin is now 18 seconds adrift of Christian and about 19 near 20 adrift of Makender. And they will be piling on the laps. Justin, this is going to be nip and tuck on the pit stop if it does come, if they are pitting soon. I'll tell you what, because of course the advantage with the pit lane is, although it's slower, it cuts out the final corner and it cuts out turn 1. So you can gain a bit of time on pit lane compared to other tracks. But you can see that Justin is now really starting to close that gap. But how much of his tyres will he burn? Of course, the medium runners will be on fresher rubber come the end of the race. But then how much good will that do them if they're stuck behind another car here in Monaco? Oh me, oh my, coming from Ocean Chief in the chat. Or oh my me, as he says. That's one reaction for what's happening here. And of course, Justin dealing with that 3-second penalty. That's not something that can be removed in really any shape or form. 3-second penalties from pretty much every league I've seen tend to stick no matter how you got them. You went off track. I've only seen it removed a few times in AOR, and even then it's very rare. So, tell you what, this is looking good for, of all people, Run Cruiser, who's staying with Justin and moving and closing the gap with him, and who will just be able to follow Justin and prevent maybe a dive bomb from Makender and Christian later in the race. And if he stays within 3 seconds, that will be a win for, of all people, Run Cruiser. Christian has pitted onto the mediums. He'll do 12 laps on those. And Run Cruiser is ahead of him there. And Run Cruiser doing a good job staying with Justin. If you had told me that Run Cruiser would be at present, and not saying it's going to stay that way, but at present in the box seat come the start of this race, I would have said, jog on mate. But it's looking promising so far. Even a podium would be good for him, of course. He's been, without meaning to be disrespectful, he's been fairly anonymous so far this season as Run Cruiser. Not had bad races, but not really had brilliant ones either. Monaco brings out the driver in all of us. Car doesn't mean too much, it's how you can handle the track. And so far, he's handling it well. 16 seconds the gap to Makender. All the other gaps, this is the main... Oh, Justin! And Run Cruiser goes through. Justin trying to ghost his way through, but it's not happening. Justin made the mistake, and Run Cruiser takes advantage. We'll get the DRS as well. Run Cruiser now in a prime position. It's all happening here. This is the most exciting Monaco Grand Prix I've seen for a long time. Maybe it's not having overtakes galore, but we've had incidents and strategic calls and a near enough 50% mortality rate. There's something you can put on the back of the box. Ocean Chief is really channeling his inner ex-Matty G. He's just said in the chat, bloody Nora. If I recall correctly, ex-Matty G famously said that when Arava took him out in the YouTuber Championship. He probably said it in AOR as well back in the day, but then I'm sure ex-Matty G said a hell of a lot worse in AOR. Back when it was in its infancy and we had drivers like ex-Matty G in there and Noble 2909. Still don't know whatever happened to him. Arava, Tiamat Marduk. We could still get some celebrities in this league, I think. Someone go and get into the barrier in our league. There's a bit of YouTuber celebrity fame to be had there. As Christian now sets the fastest lap of the race, to be expected on those medium compound tyres. But he's got to get past Justin and Run Cruiser. The gap down to 14.3. Makender will still have to pit, and he will come out behind these two certainly. Possibly even behind Christian, depending on how the pace unfolds. He'll be 19 to go after this one. I'll tell you what, that's a hell of a long way for those mediums to go. That's probably why Makender is staying out for longer. And at the minute, it's a 2-horse race, I'd say, at present. I'll tell you what, Run Cruiser, as overpowering as Justin was early on in the race, hello, we've got yellows in Sector 1. That is Joel out of the race. Still seems to be being held under localized yellows. They better clear that quick though. And it has been cleared. No safety cars at present so far. And then there were 7. And of course, even though they're technically finishing in the points-paying positions, they won't get points unless they complete 90% race distance. So unfortunately, Joel, Wick, and Lepson will not score any points for their 8th, 9th, and 10ths. Let me do my maths here real quick. 3.9, round it up to 4. So they have to complete at least lap 35 to qualify for scoring points. I'll tell you what, at this stage of the race, Run Cruiser is driving a lot cleaner than Justin. As overpowering as Justin's pace can be, Run Cruiser seems to have the smoothness more at this point, and certainly seems to have actually the legs on Justin at this stage of the race as well. This is a really impressive display so far. Knocking on wood, I'm not jinxing anything yet. Justin loses out on DRS on the straight here. Run Cruiser has burned quite a bit of his ERS, but then so too has Justin. The gap down to 11.4. Makender really stretching out towards this pit stop, and it's looking good for these two, and it's looking somewhat better for Run Cruiser at present. As nice as it is to be on the top of a Drivers' Championship, the next best thing you can have is the Constructors, and the next best thing after that is being on the top step at Monaco. This is the one that everybody wants to win. Doesn't matter if you're a real-life F1 driver, F1, F2, F3, Porsches, supercars, V8s, iRacing, real-life F1, in-game F1, doesn't matter. Monaco is a point of pride for every driver who will take 1/3 of the Triple Crown. Just to let you know, in fact, how important it is. The Triple Crown, of course, being winning the big 3 titles, Indy 500, Le Mans 24 Hours, and the F1 World Championship. It's so important here in Monaco, in fact, that the F1 World Championship is interchangeable. You don't actually have to win the F1 World Championship, you just have to win Monaco. That's how coveted this trophy is. This means a lot to every driver here. Ocean Chief saying, first league race I ever won was Monaco, which quite frankly is quite shocking considering it's my worst track in terms of pace and front wing sustainability. Same for me in terms of the pace and sustainability. I did win it in AOR this year. If I recall correctly, my first race win was Hungary. Back in 21 was my first race win. I think I was racing against Rickety at that time as well. I believe, in fact, I beat him. No, it was Rocco I was racing in that one. I think Rickety was in that league as well, though. But that was my first race win. Had 3 more that season, but only was able to finish second in the Drivers' Championship. Came real close again for a second time in 21. 22 and 23 were nowhere, and then finally got my title in 24. With my boys at AOR. Would love to have done it with you here in SLR, but it wasn't happening. And neither is that overtaking move, it can be called that, Justin. Bump drafting is not allowed. We are not NASCAR. And it's all very chill at the minute. Well, I say it's chill. It's chill in terms of overtaking action. It's tense watching these two. It's like... the best way I can describe it is, has anyone ever seen the film Hunt for Red October? It's not horror or anything. It's an action film, but it's tension. It's the thrill of the hunt. Knowing that these two are so close together, knowing that it's so difficult to overtake, and thinking, where can he make it stick? What's going to happen? What will be the next twist of the knife? And that's what we're seeing right now. With 15 to go. Makender's still yet to pit. He's done 23 laps on those hards. Just having a look, if I can, at Yep, he hasn't stopped yet. I was wondering if he'd stopped early on, because I was wondering how it counts 23 laps when it says he's done 24. Unusual, but anyway. Cruiser coming under a bit more pressure now. Will the move be done? We won't know, because the cameraman decided to be a jerk and give us a front wing camera. That's better. Didn't come this time. But you can see that Justin is visibly closing. Still driving a conservative race. Makender is driving a good old marathon, but he's going to lose so much time. He'll probably fall behind Christian at this pace. Certainly won't fall behind Adesi, who's made a good comeback to 5th, but is over a pit stop behind Christian. Barring a safety car, which he wouldn't be able to take advantage of a pit stop of, I don't see Adesi threatening the front runners anytime soon. Makender to softs, possibly? Although, if we're going by pit lane strategies, the mediums only lasted really well for about 12 laps. So, considering how weak the softs are in this year's game, and we all know they are very weak, I mean, what would that be? Coming in with 6 to go, 7 to go? I mean, at that point, Justin and Christian would be right under his rear wing. I don't think the strategy call has been right from the boys in Makender's garage. Maybe holding out hope for a safety car. Maybe that was his plan earlier on, but I don't know if safety car was turned down for this race, but we've only had 2 virtual safety cars despite having 4 pretty massive wrecks. 2 were under VSC and 2 under localized yellows. Make of it what you will, but Makender's starting to slide around here. He needs to think about pitting. It will hurt to give up the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix, but the alternative is he could potentially walk away with nothing. Justin, all over the back of Run Cruiser. But bear in mind, even if he gets past Run Cruiser, it's a big if at the minute. He's got to pull out 3 seconds, and Run Cruiser has shown that he has very solid pace around here. We also don't know how close Justin is to a second penalty, or how close Run Cruiser is to a first penalty. We could check the race director, but that would ruin all the tension now, wouldn't it? Let's get a couple of onboard shots from Justin's car. Lovely colour scheme on these 2 cars. Really evokes that period of time in like the 90s and the early 2000s where teams were a lot more bold and brash with their liveries. You had British Racing Green in the Jaguars, the striking yellows of the Jordans, the red and white candy canes of the Toyotas, Minardi always in colourful sponsorships, Sauber with their Red Bull livery, that beautiful magenta green and cyan, and my personal favourite 2 liveries, the old Williams BMW livery and the West McLarens in their black, silver, white with the red nose. Such an iconic livery. Don't get me wrong, I like Papaya as much as the next guy, but I think that was the iconic McLaren livery for me personally. This Racing Bulls, AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso one, whatever you want to call it, this bright red and blue though, I could get used to this one. I do think it's a very pretty livery. I got nothing against the neon green, it just feels a little bit too out there, but it has its charms. As Makender did pit. Now, where will he come out? Here comes Christian, we're on board with the McLaren. He'll come out well clear of Makender. That was not the right strategy call. Makender and Christian were close together on track. As it stands right now, Makender is going to appear 4 seconds adrift of Christian. So, at the minute, barring any mishaps, it's a 2-horse race for the win between Justin and Run Cruiser. 12 to go, including this one, to decide who wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Justin sounds like he's revving up those rears quite a bit, if you ask me. And locking tyres. Oh, he got a better exit than Run Cruiser, but isn't able to do anything with it. And probably burnt up more of his tyres in the process. Run Cruiser is controlling the pace, and he can afford to. He's the lead car, it's Monaco, it's hard to overtake. And of course, throwing that dirty air back to Justin will severely hurt the longevity of the tyres compared to Run Cruiser. Justin tries to burn, but again you saw the rear spinning up. He just doesn't have the traction at this stage. Thinks about a run into Sandoval, but knows better than to try that. This is going to be about patience and waiting for Run Cruiser to make a mistake, if he makes a mistake. But Run Cruiser has shown fairly good consistency so far. The occasional lock-up from my screen anyway, but how much of that is down to spectator desync, I have no idea. Oh, being bumped again through the hairpin. And our cameras could go and look at the other drivers, but they're all so far apart, it doesn't really matter, man. There will be an upcoming battle, though, between Makender and Christian. Makender has closed at a rapid pace on those fresh mediums. In fact, looking at Makender, he did not close enough to make the lunge into the chicane at this stage. What can Justin do on this occasion? Anything into Raskas, has a think about it, tries to find a gap on the inside, but you'll never find one there. Does he have the run down into Sandoval? Not on this occasion. Makender, what can he do into Sandoval? He really wants to get past Christian here. He maybe feels, look, I've got the pace on these mediums, I have a chance. But he's hurt himself on this strategy by dropping behind Christian. He needs to get past him. Look how close he is. If he can stay through Casino, he may have a chance. Surely not on the inside. On the run to Casino, now it becomes the outside, and he makes it through. What a move from Makender. That was stunning. And now he has the challenge. 9.5 seconds. 10 laps including this one to close the gap. At least to get second place and to try and overhaul Run Cruiser. But of course Justin also has to get past Run Cruiser. Ocean Chief with a response there. Flip and flip. That's one word for it. Who says you can't overtake at Monaco? Makender doesn't believe that you can't overtake at Monaco. That was a stunner of a move. Kit comes into the pits to get the soft compound tyres on, and he will be lapped as well. The only driver so far to be lapped. He better stay out of the way of these guys, and he will do. So Kit is the first driver to be lapped. Will he come out in between the two of them? No, he will not. Stays just behind. And Run Cruiser holding on to the lead at present. This is the battle that we need to watch. It's the only battle really on track. And excuse my French. I have... Oh, that was a reverse entry drift as Basco gets 3 seconds now as well. As Crystals leaves the session, he was already out ages ago. Bit of ghosting going on here, although Justin does seem very fair in that when the cars ghost, he doesn't just phase through. This is going to be interesting as well. What is Kit going to do? By the rules of competition, he is allowed to unlap himself. And on those soft tyres, he does seem to have the pace to at least match the front runners. Justin has a little think about it into the swimming pool, but it's not happening this time. Also, in response to your excuse my French, I have far worse words than flip and flip. Percule. Don't know what it means, Google. But anyway, Justin seems to have more pace at this stage, certainly on the straights, the DRS helping, but he's unable to commit to the corner. Maybe he wants to try and take a leaf out of Makenders, but can try the run down the outside. But Run Cruiser has enough pace to match that. Makender, meanwhile, has brought the gap down to under 7 seconds in the space of about 1 or 2 laps. He's potentially on target to steal second place from Justin. Justin with a 3-second penalty and unable to extend it because Run Cruiser is ahead. This is going wrong for Justin. hear the engine revving as Justin really wants to get the power down, try and out-drag Run Cruiser, but he's just not able to. And we've seen what happens when you get too overzealous on the pedal. A Desi proved it for us on that very same straight. As they come across the line to start lap 33, 7 to go including this one. As Rickety's going through, he's unlapping himself, as is his right. Now he's got to pull away by about a second, and he goes through Run Cruiser as well. The soft compound tire being very quick at this stage. Rickety trying to get the fastest lap of the race, salvage something extra from this event. Looking at the fastest lap, it goes to Make under the minute at 1:10.3. Kit's best response so far is a 1:11.6. He's got a hell of a long way to go to beat that. And blue flags are being shown. Rickety needs to pull out another few tenths to avoid getting a penalty for ignoring blue flags. And let me tell you, Run Cruiser's now going to make it easy for him to pull that gap out. That's another sector. I believe if you're shown it for a full lap, you get a penalty. We'll find out in a minute. Kit is slowly pulling away though. Justin just doesn't seem to have a response as they go into Sandoval for the 34th time. Both drivers seem fine on fuel, a bit more ERS in Justin's tank, but it doesn't make much difference. The gap now 4.5. Makender is closing. It's like that meme with a scout. I am 4 seconds away from your location and rapidly closing. Remember, if the gap is less than 3 seconds, Justin will not hold on to second place. The pressure is mounting for the Red Bull, not the Red Bull, the Toro Rosso driver. Lockups everywhere, 20 laps on these hards. They obviously last a lot better than the mediums, but obviously it's not pleasant, especially with that dirty air. Justin, I mean, how long before he becomes desperate? He's got the championship to think about, of course, but the win at Monaco. He's actually losing time on this straight this time. Hear from the engine notes that Justin just cannot get that low gear traction compared to Run Cruiser, who's much smoother on his exits. But of course we've got to watch for the potential penalties. Makender is within 3 seconds. Justin might help secure the win for Run Cruiser. I'll tell you what though, if Run Cruiser gets a penalty, Makender could still win this race. Makender is not out of this race yet by any stretch of the imagination. It's not over until you cross the finish line. And even then, sometimes it's not over because the steward's office usually have something to say about it as well. Yes, but of course, but then without the penalties, of course, yes, Makender on that fresh rubber, will he be able to get past both of them? It'd have to be a hell of a dive bomb, and he'd have to try and get past one without hitting the other. The ultimate test of skill. Let's go on board with Makender. He's coming round into the tunnel. He can see them. We can see them from the Aston Martin. Down in the swimming pool. Justin right under the rear wing again. Wasn't able to do anything on this occasion. And Makender is getting closer and closer and closer all the time. He's getting barely regular sightings of them, soon you'll have a consistent sighting of them. There they go, disappearing into Raskas. Is DRS going to be enough for just on this occasion? Somehow I don't think so. Because they're pulling Rickety back in as well, those softs not lasting particularly long. It's 6 laps, there you go. You can see Makinder carrying so much more speed, and here we go, it's now a three-way battle. 3 laps to go, 3 drivers fighting for the win, a 3-second penalty also affecting the outcome of this race. As Justin, now starting to get desperate, you saw him weaving this way and that way. He needs to find a way through if he's to have any chance of holding on to the victory. And Makender, what can he do? How does he get past 2 cars in 1 corner? Surely it's not possible. It's not over until they award Hamilton the F1 21 World Driver Championship. Ocean Chief, your name's very fitting, because I'm guessing after 21 you cried yourself an ocean with that result. Do 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 do, Max Verstappen, do do do. Gosh, the tension at the minute is unreal. It's been so quiet for so long. You just sense that surely something has to give. Surely the storm's about to break, or will they all keep their heads cool? Who will be the first to crack under the pressure? Who will be the one to make a defining move, a daring move, a stupid move? We don't know. Makender is now within a second. Is Run Cruiser only 1 cut away from a penalty? Is Makender only 1 cut away from a penalty? Will there be a smash-up towards the end? Could they all take each other out and Christian somehow win this race by some miracle? Maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it will stay like this till the end. We don't know. That's why we watch F1 and why we love F1. The anticipation of not knowing what's next. What's going to be around the next corner? How many are going to finish? Will there be controversy? Will there be daring moves? We don't know. But I tell you what, we haven't got long to wait to find out. As they come through Raskas, there is going to be 1 more lap, 1 more chance for all 3 of these guys to cement their place in SLR history. Who is going to win this Monaco Grand Prix? Will it be Run Cruiser, who's led consistently since the halfway point of the race? Will it be Justin, who maybe feels a bit harshly done by a penalty and has been pressuring all race? Will it be Makender, the comeback kid? Will it be none of these guys? Will Christian somehow survive while everyone else blows up? We don't know. We're going to go to aerial camera, get the view of all 3 of them. No one's able to make it round the hairpin. Christian steals the fastest lap of the race. This is maybe the last true overtaking opportunity, down into the chicane. Run Cruiser, does he make it through okay? Yes, he does. They all seem to make it through fairly cleanly. Justin, I think, knows that it's all done and dusted unless there's a mistake at the end here. Going through the final part of swimming pool, up to Raskas for the final time. Of all the drivers I expected to win, it was not the Sauber. It was not the lean, mean, green machine. It was not who I expected, but it is Run Cruiser who wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Makender will take 2nd and Justin will finish 3rd after penalties. What a race. And what a surprise winner. I don't think anyone expected this. Bravo, sir. Bravo. One of only 7 finishers. Christian will hold on to the fastest lap of the race to take the extra point for McLaren and will take P4. Adesi, they're also massively spread out. Kit's already crossed the line, so he's finished. Adesi, barring any mishaps at the end here, will finish in P5. Vasco could just smash in the wall and he'd still classify as P6. The Mercedes, disappointment I feel for Adesi. He had the pace to do so much more, but he did eventually really just mess himself up with that spin and probably wasn't the right call in the strategy. Basco, our choo-choo train, leading the train now finishes as the guard car. Run Cruiser will be the train that leads them over the line. What a job, son. What a job. Well done. And a rare sight indeed, a Sauber on top of the podium. There you go. And the Monaco trophy, the one that they all want to win. A reserved expression from Run Cruiser. And the champagne. There's a podium you'll never see in real life. And your preliminary results, barring any removal or adding of penalties, if they want to load. They're not going to load, apparently. There you go. So, Run Cruiser winning for the Netherlands. Makender will take second, Justin in third. Behind them, Christian, Adesi, Basco, and Kit, the last of your classified runners. Your DNFs for this race, not scoring any points: Joel, Wick, Lepson, Crystals, Virgin Nyko, and Count Dooku. He didn't even make it to Revenge of the Sith in this timeline. So there you have it. Who says Monaco can't be exciting? As we wait for potential interviews. Justin saying, never am I touching Monaco on the G29 again. Ah, yeah, a bad workman always blames his tools. Justin, just saying. Doesn't look like we're getting anyone in the interview room, which is fine. It was quite quiet at the end there in the stressy race for all concerned. But if that's all we've got to see, then I suppose we will call it there. Thank you very much for joining me and keeping me company around the streets of Monaco. I hope you enjoyed the race. I thought it was a great one by Monaco standards. Strategy, disasters, incidents, controversy, and enough broken front wings to give every fan a souvenir to take home with them. But that is all we have from Tier 1 for today. Tomorrow will be the Tier 2 drivers at Monaco. That should be a heck of a show to watch as well. But until next time, let me just find out, where is our calendar? Do we have the calendar? Doesn't look like we have a calendar. Where's it gone? I have lost our calendar. Oh my goodness. Nope, can't find it. Oh well. Whatever we're back to next week, though, we hope you will join us for it. Or even if it's just me again. Monaco was an absolute blast. Can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store. But until then, I have been your host, Lars the Red Hot Lovers, and thank you for joining me once again. Everyone stay safe, have a very good week, and I will see you next week.